Do you believe devils exist? For centuries, traditional thought painted them as physical beings, powerful, monstrous entities with huge strength and the ability to control the minds of men. These devils, often seen as a force of evil, were believed to roam the earth, tempting and corrupting souls. But in today's more spiritual understanding, many are starting to recognize that the concept of devils may not be so physical after all. The spiritual realm, many believe, does not work in terms of physicality. Instead, the negative energy associated with devils is more about the destructive, fear-driven forces that exist within us and around us. These energies, often perceived as external, are thought to be manifestations of the negative emotions, thoughts, and experiences that we struggle with. Today, we're going to introduce you to a legendary author who, in a way, seemed to have encountered this negative energy head-on. Napoleon Hill, a man who experienced many ups and downs in his life, wrote a book that many consider a conversation with the devil itself. Interestingly, Hill's book, Outwitting the Devil, was written in 1938, but was so controversial at the time that it was never published until 2011. When it finally reached the public, it received overwhelmingly positive reviews. But what is his story? What was the background behind this book? What did Hill go through to have a conversation with the devil? And what did he learn from it? Let's dive into Napoleon Hill's journey and explore his life, the experiences that led him to write Outwitting the Devil, and the profound lessons he uncovered. It was in the midst of the Great Depression, in the late 1930s, when Napoleon Hill, already known for his work, Think and Grow Rich, found himself facing a battle more daunting than any he had ever encountered before. His financial success had evaporated, his business ventures had failed, and he was burdened with debts. He was struggling with feelings of defeat and disappointment, feeling lost and trapped in a life of uncertainty. The man who had once been hailed as a success now stood at the edge of despair. Napoleon Hill's journey was far from ordinary. Born in 1883, Hill came from modest beginnings, but his aspirations soared from an early age. As a young journalist, he was tasked with interviewing Andrew Carnegie, the Scottish-American steel magnate, one of the wealthiest men in the world at the time. Carnegie challenged Hill to spend the next 20 years interviewing successful people and uncovering the secret of their success. This challenge would form the basis of Hill's lifelong research into personal achievement. Over the years, Hill claimed to have interviewed some of the most successful people in America, including Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, and the likes of steel tycoon Charles M. Schwab and inventor Andrew Carnegie himself. These individuals, who had amassed great fortunes, shared their philosophies on success and personal development with Hill, giving him the insight he would later compile into his books. However, despite his relationships with some of the wealthiest and most influential men in America, Hill's own financial situation wasn't as prosperous as he would have liked. Throughout his career, Hill pursued various business ventures, many of which failed. His attempt to run a law firm was unsuccessful, and he ventured into real estate, only to see those efforts collapse as well. By the time he wrote Outwitting the Devil in 1938, he had experienced multiple bankruptcies. His debts continued to grow, and his reputation as a businessman suffered greatly. His personal finances were in ruins, and his career seemed to have come to an abrupt halt. Despite these setbacks, Hill's mind remained focused on personal growth and self-development. his connection with the wealthy elite, the insight he had gathered from his interviews, and his deep commitment to understanding the human mind set him apart. However, the weight of his failures and the looming financial pressures brought him into a state of deep despair. It was during this time that Hill claimed to have engaged in an extraordinary internal battle, one that would later be documented in his book, Outwitting the Devil. In Outwitting the Devil, Hill presents a conversation between himself and a figure he refers to as the Devil. This devil, however, is not the mythical figure of evil we usually imagine. Instead, Hill describes him as a personification of fear, the force that keeps people stuck in mediocrity and fear of failure. According to the devil, his most powerful weapon is fear. Fear of poverty, fear of criticism, fear of failure, and fear of death. These are the fears that bind people to their circumstances and prevent them from realizing their true potential. The devil admits that through these fears, he has the ability to control nearly everyone. By instilling fear into the hearts of men, he prevents them from reaching the heights of success and living fulfilling lives. In fact, the devil brags that 98% of people are controlled by their fears, living in a state of perpetual doubt and inaction. A key concept introduced in the book is that of the drifter. Hill describes a drifter as someone who goes through life without purpose, without direction, and without any conscious intention. Drifters live reactively. They are easily influenced by the opinions of others, by their environment, and by their circumstances. They never take control of their own thoughts or actions, allowing external forces to shape their reality. The devil claims that the majority of people are drifters. They live their lives in a state of passive acceptance, moving along with the tide instead of taking charge of their own destiny. Hill elaborates on how society, through its institutions like education, media, and culture, encourages this drift, constantly bombarding people with distractions that keep them from thinking for themselves. But the devil also confesses that what he fears the most is not these passive drifters. What he fears, above all, is the independent thinker, the person who questions the status quo, who is able to think for themselves, and who decides to act on their own beliefs and vision. These are the people who have the power to outwit the devil. When Hill presses the devil on what he fears most, the answer is telling. The devil reveals that he has no real power over people who think independently. The devil may control the masses through fear, but he cannot control those who are clear of mind and unshaken in their beliefs. Hill pushes the devil further, asking him how he controls people. The devil explains that his power lies in instilling fear, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. These fears keep people from following their true calling, keep them from stepping into the greatness they are capable of, and keep them enslaved to their circumstances. The devil explains that the key to breaking free from his influence is independent thought, thinking for yourself, without being swayed by fear or the opinions of others. When you free yourself from fear, you unlock the power to live a life of purpose and fulfillment. The central lesson of Outwitting the Devil is that thoughts create reality. Hill shares the idea that the mind is a powerful tool. By changing your thoughts and beliefs, you can change your circumstances. This is where Hill introduces the concept of the law of attraction, the idea that by focusing on positive thoughts and aligning your mind with your goals, you attract the resources, opportunities, and people you need to succeed. But the devil cautions that it is not enough to simply think positive thoughts. True power lies in the ability to believe without fear, to act with confidence, and to stay focused on your goals regardless of external circumstances. Hill stresses that those who live with intention and purpose, who are clear about what they want, are the ones who will create their own destiny. A recurring theme in the conversation is that fear is the greatest enemy to personal success. Hill argues that most people are so controlled by fear that they never step outside their comfort zones, never take risks, and never pursue their true desires. They are trapped by their own negative thoughts, and the devil uses this to keep them stuck in lives of frustration and mediocrity. The devil also explains that most people misunderstand the power of prayer and positive thinking. According to the devil, many prayers are rooted in fear. People pray out of desperation, hoping that something or someone will save them. This fear-based prayer, Hill argues, is ineffective because it reinforces the very thing they fear: lack, failure, and disappointment. Instead, true power comes from praying with gratitude, being thankful for the abundance that already exists in your life, and focusing on the positive. Towards the end of their conversation, the devil admits that the one thing he truly fears is a person who is free from fear. He fears the person who knows their own power and acts accordingly. The truth, Hill realizes, is that fear has no real power. It is only the illusion of power that controls us. The moment we break free from fear, we become invincible. In the final pages of the book, Hill urges his readers to wake up from the slumber of fear and mediocrity. He encourages them to think independently, to take control of their minds, and to believe in their own potential. The devil may try to control us with fear, but we have the power to outwit him. While the book remained unpublished for years, held back by Hill's publisher, who feared its controversial ideas, Outwitting the Devil eventually saw the light of day and became a source of inspiration for many. Some readers believe Hill's conversation with the devil is a profound allegory about the internal battle between fear and courage, while others see it as a guide to overcoming the mental limitations that prevent us from achieving success. Napoleon Hill's repeated business failures were not a result of some external force or bad luck, but rather he came to understand that they were driven by his own fears and self-limiting beliefs. Through his reflection and allegorical conversation with the devil, Hill realized that the true enemy of success is often the fear and doubt that reside within us. By confronting these inner obstacles, he was able to begin his journey toward transformation and achievement. Regardless of interpretation, Outwitting the Devil remains a timeless work that speaks to the heart of human struggle, urging us to conquer our fears and take charge of our own destinies. It's a call to wake up from the fear-driven drift and to start living with purpose and intention, realizing that the power to shape our lives has always been within us.